Music is a universal language that speaks on a level far deeper than words. Today, New York City public school students are learning the language of melody, rhythm, and harmony from expert teachers and musicians participating in a unique program. Funded by musician and New York City public school graduate Paul Simon. The Paul Simon Music Fellows Program was established with a $1 million donation from Paul Simon to the New York City Department of Education and Fund for Public Schools to invest in music programs, advanced teacher training, and collaboration with professional musicians. The donation was the result of all net proceeds from the final hometown concert of Paul Simon's 2018 farewell tour in New York's Flushing Meadows Corona Park.
It means more than you can know.
Starting in the fall of 2019, the fellowship partnered 20 early career music teachers with veteran music educators for intense mentorship, as well as close collaborations with master musicians curated by Simon himself in a wide variety of musical genres that reflect the vibrant diversity of New York City.
Paul Simon selected a group of very high-level professional musicians to work with our fellows and our students to really further inspire them.
Fortunately for me, Paul Simon and I worked over 20 years ago on The Capeman, the Broadway show. And he called me, he mentioned the program to me to see if I was interested in putting together an ensemble of myself and 3 other members to visit different schools and give them a little background of what we do and how we can enhance what they're doing.
In our music classrooms, students should really be learning about a wide variety of genres. That's part of honoring and really celebrating all of our students and making sure that our music curriculum is truly representative of all of our students and families.
So for me, especially teaching in a city as diverse as New York, coming into the music education space, it is my job to bring in non-Western styles that represent the kids that I'm teaching. I think it's impossible for us to reach all of our students if we're only coming from the place that we know and that we're coming from, and we need to bring what they know and their cultures and all of their interests into the classroom.
90% of my students are Chinese, and I knew for myself, I did not have a Chinese background. I did not have any musical related information related to Chinese music, so I was hoping to use the Paul Simon Fellowship and show them Chinese music, show them songs that are from their history and from their background as well.
I was encouraging them in that first concert kind of performance to be proud of their ethnicity, to be proud of their background, to be proud of, if their parents were immigrants, to be proud of them. Because of music, you can actually study all these different music traditions if you want to. And I kind of wish I had that when I was their age.
Our fellows and their students learned everything from steel pan to bomba to traditional Chinese music this spring. And I think one of the unique parts of the residency is that the expert musician who was the artist in residence worked with both the students and the fellow.
The artist visits were off to a great start by February 2020. And then, everything changed. The entire country was moved out of its comfort zone in March 2020 when the COVID-19 shutdown began. The Fellows program had to change and adapt to this new reality.
So the greatest challenge of the program was navigating the pandemic. We really had to think very carefully at several junctures about when it was time to pause the program and when it was ripe to relaunch successfully. So during the lockdown, we kept mentoring. I think the mentors were really anchors for our fellows throughout the pandemic, and I think their support was really invaluable during that time.
It was an indescribable challenge, but I think that part of the reason why I was able to completely reinvent my curriculum and transition to online learning and still feel passionate and excited about teaching was because I knew that I had Kat in my corner at all times.
Having music during that time, I know it was incredibly beneficial for my students. I know that they needed it. They showed up for me every day, and it was a very significant part of their emotional well-being during the pandemic and mine.
When classes finally resumed, the fellows worked together to find the best ways to help their students.
Going back into the classroom and trying to achieve some semblance of normalcy, we all had a lot of questions about how to navigate that process.
It was a whole resocialization process for students. It was really no small feat to restart music programs. And our fellows were doing this as relatively new teachers.
The Paul Simon Music Fellows Program restarted artist visits and contributed a variety of new instruments to help students readjust.
The first thing I thought of to get in terms of supplies was keyboards. When they first sat down, I noticed immediately like they had smiles on their faces. They're super excited. They couldn't wait to turn on that on button and just go at it. So my first official lesson with them was turn on the keyboard, plug in your headphones, and just explore.
I was very interested in getting to work with Latin musicians and musicians who specialized in music from Latin America and the Caribbean, and getting to work with not only musicians who know those genres, but who are leaders in the industry. The first thing they did was Bobby and his ensemble played some music for them, and everyone immediately could see that they're incredible musicians. They were all dancing and singing and really loving it. But when we performed something for them and they joined in with, especially the Latin percussion, it really woke everyone up. You could see their faces change in what they were performing. It was an incredible experience.
Students, artists, and teachers worked hard throughout the 2021-2022 school year to get ready for the first live concerts since before the pandemic.
Before we got here, every class we showed here, they were here a minute way before we got here, ready to go. And children that didn't have interest in school were showing up, came out of their shell, wanting to sing, wanting to show, and that's what we wanted to get out of them. Get out of your comfort zone.
So I had students like coming down during lunch periods to practice and asking if they could stay during my prep periods or stay after school. And just that extra excitement and energy about music making was definitely the greatest.
Many of the fellows' students were brand new musicians who had never performed on stage. By June 2022, students across the city were ready to share their talents with family, friends, and community members.
The most magical moment for my students definitely had to be when we performed at the Bronx Heritage Center, and my student, she got up on trombone and soloed. She improvised in front of the whole community, and she was so confident, and it really did a trickle-down effect to my other students, and they really all started to get up and solo, and they just looked so happy and confident.
I, as a teacher, measure success by how excited the kids get about music making. So there were lots of moments throughout the program that showed how excited they were about music making. All of the students on stage having that look of joy at the end of the show was definitely the most magic encapsulating moment of the program for me.
I think music teaches them a sense of community, a sense of how to work with others in a situation in which they're all responsible for one another and the product that they all produce together as a community.
The arts are the fabric that hold everything together. And music particularly is important because it just is the sound of the universe.
The feeling of connecting and listening and creating something that's larger than yourself. Being part of that excitement, that energy, that joy, and realizing that together as an ensemble, you're creating something you could never do as an individual. I mean, that right there is the heart of why music is amazing. That's the heart of music education. It's the heart of school music. That's the joy of music making.